Hello, everyone. How are you today? We're so glad that you are here. We have a wonderful, wonderful program for you. You will be blessed. We're blessed every single time my guest, Becky Yates Spencer, comes today, and it comes to visit us. And today is an extra special opportunity for us. Is God still performing miracles? Oh, yes, He is. Becky is going to share stories from her recent trip to Swaziland, where Christ is doing a mighty work. Hi, I'm Patricia Durgan, and this is Marketers on a Mission. We present marketing tutorials by and for Christian writers, speakers, and artists. This is episode number 244, Praise Report on Swaziland with author, musician, bed and breakfast owner, fill in the blanks, and missionary, Becky Yates Spencer. Hello, Becky. How are you today?
Hi, Patricia. So glad to be with you. That's how I am. It's always a delight.
The Lord has blessed us with a special friendship from years and years ago, and we talk more now on Facebook Live than we have through the years, just because of schedules and so forth.
That's right.
Tell us, we want to talk about what's recently happening, and you just came back. It was less than 2 weeks ago?
Yes, a week ago Sunday.
Okay, so still very, very fresh.
Yes, ma'am.
And yet we want some background first. So can you tell us how you got from being a mother of many, many children, and that was a mission field as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Adopted son born to you. Tell us how you got here, please.
Okay, great. Well, my husband Tracy and I were both praying about what our next assignment would be, because we do have 8 children, 4 birth, 4 adopted, and the adopted kids were almost grown up. So we were going, okay, God, what's next? I had done a lot of concerts in churches and speaking ministry and that kind of thing, but had pulled back on that to really spend time with the kids, especially during those teen years that were challenging. And when you have 4 basketball games a week, you kind of need to be home. So that was, that era was ending as the kids were growing up. So we were just asking God what's next.
His being abandoned.
Excuse me.
Yes. Somebody joined us.
I pushed the wrong button, but we're back together now.
Yeah, we'll just keep going. So anyway, long story short, we went to a graduation.
Led to our being.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm doing the same thing that I've always done, and I'm getting a different result.
That is,
so
yeah.
Give me just 1 second.
Sure. Na 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 na. Just kidding.
It's appropriate. It's appropriate. All right, Debbie Hardy's here. So good to see you, Debbie. Nancy Dorset is here. So it's wonderful to see both of you. And I know we have others who are watching and will join us. All right. I apologize.
Okay. So, yes, we went to Seattle to a graduation of a dear friend and ended up meeting these missionaries, Stan and Sue Drew, and felt led to support them. But that was 2003. 2005, Tracy and I started feeling a real tug to go to Swaziland, which made 0 sense. I don't consider myself Africa material at all. I always say you think snakes, bugs, and heat. And yeah, just didn't seem like it could possibly really be God, but it was. And so we went the first time in 2006 with our little Anna, who was 10 at the time, and didn't have any idea why we were there, what God had in mind at the time. But that's what got us there initially. So you want me just to keep going? Yeah.
Yes, if you want to. When you went, did you go to visit the Drews that first trip?
Yes, we did, and we met another team from Texas who were going for, I think they were there for 9 days, and we were staying for a whole month. So we worked with that team for the first initial bit, and then stayed and did some other things the rest of the time.
Your very first trip, you stayed a month.
Yes, we did, because we had no idea what God had in mind. We figured, okay, it's going to cost this much for the flights. Let's go and really get a feel for the country, seek God while we're there, see, are we supposed to move? We didn't know. We didn't know if he was calling us to live there or what he had in mind.
This was an exploratory trip.
Yes. Yeah. Getting to know Stan and Sue better, and just meeting some of the Swazis that they introduced us to, connected with the church there, that kind of thing. And just asked God, what in the world do you have for us? And of course, we fell in love with the kids there, because Swaziland has the highest incidence of AIDS in the world. So there are children everywhere you look who are in need, orphaned, or taking care of sick parents, or foraging for food, stealing from street vendors, all kinds of things just to live. So yeah, we fell in love with them, and we were willing to move if that's what God wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a real strong sense that He wanted us to go back and raise funds, find sponsors for individual kids, kind of like what the Compassion and some of those World Vision, some of those organizations do.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, Tracy and I both were just like, God, why us? Little old Tracy and Becky Spencer in Buhler, Kansas, that no one's ever heard of. There's already Compassion. There's already World Vision. Why us?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer was really clear, because they weren't helping these kids yet. And somebody needed to. So we knew what we were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we started with a sponsorship program, and with that one church that we worked with initially, and found sponsors for the 17 guys that lived there.
What year was this? Do you remember?
We went in 2006, and we founded Grand Staff in November that year, and then started the sponsorships for 2007.
Oh, so you got right on it.
Yes, we did. Yeah. Yeah. As soon as we got home.
I love your style. And you must have opened up. These things are not easy. What you're talking about, just those two things, create a nonprofit and start a sponsorship program for 17 children in just a few months. He had to have been all over that, was he?
Oh my goodness, he was. And I actually got a book from the library, Nonprofits. Let's see, How to Start a Nonprofit, I think, by Tony Mancuso or something like that. And I kept rechecking it. I should have just bought my own copy because it is really for dummies, and I didn't know anything, especially the financial part of it. That's just not my area. And if you saw smoke back in 2006 in the fall, it was coming from my ears, trying to comprehend what does that mean, and just lots of calls to the IRS and talking to anyone I could find who knew anything. But we got it done miraculously, and it actually was like a few months later, but it was retroactive back to November of 2006. So yeah, but got it all done. And people ask me how to do it. I just send them to the library. Because it's nothing short of miraculous that we even got that part done, since I was the one doing it.
So helping people set up a nonprofit is not your spiritual gift.
It is not. And Patricia, something that is so funny when I look back on that, I was so nervous when I had to check which box. There were 2 boxes. And was it going to be that we were going to bring in $25,000 annually or less, or more than that? Because that determined what you paid to file. And I just stressed over that, because at that point, $25,000 seemed like so much money. And now I just laugh, because that just scratches the surface of what we do every year now. So I'm glad I did the second box. But even that, just those kinds of things, I had no idea. They wanted you to give an idea of what you would ever do for the life of your ministry, everything you would ever do.
How can you answer that?
I didn't know how at all. And what % of your time was going to be used for each endeavor. So yeah, I mean, thus the smoke. Just put me on the field. Don't make me do paperwork. But God helped me, and we got through it. And now that was almost 13 years ago. So
now the 17 boys that were boys then, they're not boys anymore, are they?
No. In fact, our first home is girls, except for the kids who already live there. And one girl had a twin, so her brother's part of it too. But we'll build more than one care home. We'll get to that later, I'm sure. But there may be some that are for boys, but there's such a need for girls. Yeah.
Are the boys involved, the original 17? Have they gone on to university, parenting, ministry? Are they helping y'all? Give us a scope of them.
Yeah. Actually, a couple of them were ministry people. They went to either university or trade school. 2 of them are married, have families. One of those is a real great example to the rest of the guys in that group. And we still meet with them every time we're home. Not all 17, but there are 9 of them that we still get together with real regularly. And just love seeing the growth in them. 2 of them are working for us now on the site. One of them is our gardener, and one of them is kind of a handyman, and he may help with the building or whatever needs done. Mm-hmm. So that's a real delight, too, to still have that daily contact with them at the site. Yeah. And when I say the site, that's where we're building in one of the villages in Swaziland. So.
Now I know you're going to talk to us about the sponsorship, finding out a few more pieces of information, but I can't wait. You started off with serving the 17 boys.
Yes.
That was in a different location than you're currently building in. And
correct. Yes, that was at one church in a different village.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
how long did that?
That went for, in fact, we still have a sponsorship program going, not at that church anymore. And there's some stuff in my book about that, but we're not with them anymore, but we expanded it to other churches. So we still have 4 other churches in different sites around Swaziland where we are still doing a sponsorship program. But as those kids graduate, some sponsors go ahead and send them to university or trade school. But when they're done, then we're gradually phasing out of that and putting all of our efforts onto the site where we're building, because we can just have a lot more impact when they're right there with us. We can make sure they're studying, make sure their needs are really met. Whereas when they're in different locations and we don't have someone there all the time with them, you lose track of what the needs are.
Yes. So now tell us, what is the average income at Swaziland, and how they're associated with your ministry, yours and Tracy's
ministry? Okay. What was the second question? I heard the average income, but what was the second part?
How the recipients of your care, yours and Tracy's care, and the group homes cares, what's the future for them? How does being in your care change not only their today, but possibly generations to come?
Yeah, that is a great question. Average income in Swaziland is less than $1 a day, and there's a lot of unemployment, lots, because of AIDS. And so a lot of businesses are not doing well, because as the AIDS epidemic hit, or pandemic, I guess they call it, there were not as many capable workers because so many people were sick. And so it's estimated that up to half the population has AIDS. And there's a lot better testing now, but there are people who still are afraid to get tested. And of course they have the ARVs medication to help if someone's HIV positive, so that it won't go into full-blown AIDS. But that's still just a real challenge. So lots and lots of unemployment. And being in the sponsorship program at least means someone gets to finish school, which increases their possibilities. At least it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to find a job, but it helps. But then going to trade school or university is one more step, but again, it's no guarantee. Some of our guys who have gone to school haven't been able to find jobs in the area they studied. So it's just because there's so many people looking for jobs, and it's a challenge, but it puts them ahead. Having our care home, which I know is later, but that makes a huge difference, because we know that the kids there are being fed every day. We know that they're studying and doing well in school. We know that they're not being abused in any way. They're just developing into well-rounded individuals. And even better, now we have a preschool on site. And so those kids are getting, from age 4 and 5, they're getting a great start. They eat every day 2 meals while they're there, and they're learning English. They're getting a great foundation. Swazi schools are not great, which is one of the reasons the sponsorship program we've had all these years wasn't enough. So yeah, it's still good. The good things that happen from still being in school, even if you're not getting a great education, it means that you're not vulnerable, because you're safe in school. Hopefully. A lot of the schools feed them, and so they're getting hopefully 1 meal at least, and they're occupied. They have to be learning at least something, even if they're not learning as much as we hoped. And I'll just give you an idea. Like, there was one little boy who was number 4. This was probably 5 or 6, maybe 7 years ago. We looked at his grade card because we never had gotten one before. And so I started asking, why aren't we ever seeing one? Well, they don't usually send them home, because in many cases the kids haven't paid, so they won't release it. And so since we're their sponsors, we're paying, so we started requesting it. And he was number 4 in his class of 31 kids. And we were so excited. We're high-fiving him, just going, awesome. And then I actually looked at his grades, and he had failed more than half of his classes. And that's number 4. I was going, what does it look like for number 31 in that class?
Yes.
And there are a lot of reasons. They're overcrowded. They may have 60 kids in one class with no aide, just one teacher. And we found out that some of the teachers didn't pass their final grade, but they can go to school, a special school for teachers, and become teachers of primary age kids, elementary kids, even though they didn't pass. So there are a lot of things that start adding up to go, oh, now I get why they're not doing so well in school. So it's just not enough. And honestly, one of our dreams is to build a primary school right there on our site so that we can, after they're done with preschool, just keep them going up. If they get that kind of a solid foundation through grade 7, they're going to do okay in high school, and they will be a cut above anyone else looking for a job.
Has the Lord given you some kind of a time frame on that yet?
Yes, because the preschool just officially opened in January, even though they met for 3 months before because it was done. So they went ahead.
A month ago?
When I was there. Yeah, a month ago. So January 22nd, they officially opened, and we have 31 kids. We keep getting one more. So 31 children there. I think there are 10 in the 4-year-old class and 21 in the 5-year-old class. So we want to make sure that 2 years from then, in January of 2021, we have at least first grade built. Okay. Now, the 5-year-olds, that's not going to help them because they're going to be ready to go already next year in 2020. But by 2021, we want the kids in the preschool to be able to just go straight from preschool into first grade. Then every year we want to add at least 1 grade.
Oh, so theoretically, somebody could go all the way up as they age, the grades go up.
Yes, all the way through 7th grade. That's the plan. I mean, and if the Lord would provide the funds, we could switch some plans up and have it by January of 2020, which would be amazing to go ahead and just push and get that done. So, but our goal is at least by 2021.
Okay. And then after 7th grade, what happens to them? Where do they go?
They would need to go to high school. And there are a couple of high schools that are close enough that they can get to them. It would be a long walk, but they can do that. Or they can take a little bus that gets them from our village to the high school. And that's a possibility. But even now, one of the teenagers we have in our home takes transportation to the capital and goes to a school there. Wow. So, yeah. So it's just a real different system. Trying to make sure you find a spot in time, and you can't get it until you have your results from another class the year before. So it's a very challenging system. But I don't know if we ever would be able to build a high school or not, but I would be open to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, viewers, something to pray about.
Yes, ma'am. Big dreams.
Speaking of which, you have a prayer support team, and is there access to that viewers, live or replay viewers, can join that?
You know, I need to work on that. I have a handful of people who have me send emails to them now and then, but really that would be an awesome thing to get going. And so are you talking about like something where it's online, like just almost like a group that you just share?
That's one capability, but then also just the regular emails is another. The group sometimes is more effective because people have a deeper connection, but that's also requires more of your time. But I really need to get something like that going besides just the emails, and it needs to be something that my time is just always a challenge. But somebody else could be a moderator.
I need to work on that.
It doesn't have to require your help every moment of every day.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
If you got
so you listeners, are you the one called?
If you got a couple of moderators, and it would be low key impact on their schedule. It would be too much for you because you have already wearing so many hats.
Yes.
But
we need it.
If you let people know we're gonna post this once every day, or we'll be here 3 times a week. You set expectations when you first start the whole thing. People know, and then as you go, maybe you could connect sponsorships with the people who receive them on the other end.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so good, Patricia. Oh man, you're good.
It would really come alive.
Write this down. I don't have a pen.
It would be like an online pen pal.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And in fact, a church in Wichita has been very, very supportive of our ministry. The Center, it's a Foursquare church. And one of the gals who works with kids there asked if we could do a pen pal thing with kids in our home. So we're really excited about that.
That's nice. Yeah. Let me see if we have any comments or questions.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm a little hesitant to go to one of the locations because It was playing when it wasn't supposed to be playing. A previous. No, we're doing good. We're doing
Okay,
good.
good.
So we talked about, and I know we're almost finished talking about the school at this point, but it sounds, and I don't want to be, go off the deep end here, but of course, Paula Wines says, "I got you, Becky Yates."
Yeah, my dear friend Paula. Thank you for joining us.
Sarah Weiniger is here. It's good to see you, Sarah and Paula. Debbie Hardy's here.
Oh, Debbie. Hi, sweetie.
She has a question. Are the kids in your home taught English?
Yes. And most of the kids can speak English when they come, but not the real little ones. And so, but they're all learning it. I was amazed even at the little ones when I went this time, after not seeing them for 5 months. It was amazing. They're really doing a good job, and they performed for us in English. They sang "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" and just different. What was the one about? A couple other little nursery rhymes, just so precious. And they're doing the Bible verses for us and lots of things in English.
Well, not to go too far afield, but again, God can do anything. Do you sense that, as He suggested to you subtly, that you may be training Swaziland's leadership?
Absolutely. That's our goal. That's our dream. Not just to feed these children and send them to school, but to really raise up godly leaders for Swaziland. And God is doing some amazing things there. They just had elections. And there are like 5 or 6 of the key people in the cabinet who are born-again Christians who were just elected. Some of them even go to church with our friend Kevin Ward, the Potter's Wheel. And it's just amazing to see what God is doing in Swaziland. Yeah, really raising up some good people, and we want to contribute to that.
Yes. Debbie's making the comment that if they speak English, it's easier to be a pen pal.
Definitely, yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so no high school yet. Maybe someday, and there's a whole big old thing. One of our previous visits, you were explaining how difficult it is just to get land, and there's a whole process, and it's not the same process we use in America.
No, it's not. A chief has to grant you the land, basically, and he did, and he's working right now, and his right-hand man is working to make sure that the rest of this land is obtained for the school. So I think there's just one auntie of there are 2 families that own this land, and there's one aunt that's kind of holding out. She wants to come to see it and everything, but she's not so sure. But everyone else is on board. So, yeah, it should happen.
Okay, so at some point in time, really early on, you realized after you got in there, you started serving. You had the 17 boys. Things were moving along, but you realized early on that sponsorships were not going to be enough. And so then what did you do?
Yeah, so and that was mostly because of this little girl, Angel, that many people have heard me share about. She had, her grandma was taking care of her because her mom had abandoned her, and then the grandma died. The mom came back and was not treating her like she should, and she desperately needed a place to go. And so we started. That was in 2014. We realized actually it was 2012. That's it. In 2012, we found out she needed a place, but there just are so few places for primary age kids, elementary age kids. And I checked every available resource, every phone call I got. I pushed and pushed trying to find her a place for 2 years. Finally, in January of 14, my board said, if we can't find her one, let's build her one. But it took us then 2 years to raise the funds.
I love
Yes, me too. Me too. So finally, 2016, we had the money. No, wait a minute. Was that it? Yeah. My years are getting mixed up. Yeah, I think we broke ground. What is this, 19? Yeah, I think that's right. I don't know, my year. I'm a little confused. Lack of sleep. But finally had enough and found our house. Yeah, it would have been. I think that's right. Yeah. And then we had to find house parents. We had to find land, all those things. And God miraculously led us to the right people, the right place. My friend Woody Woodson says, you want to be in the right place at the right time with the right people, doing the right things for the right reasons.
Yes.
And he led us to people like that and places like that. So
the sponsorships were where they would stay in their home environment, whatever that was, little or much.
Right. Yes.
send a stipend every month or whatever the situation was. And then you moved to the care home where they actually they leave their home and they come and stay.
Right. Yes, and that's for kids who need a place to live. There are other people who try to get us to take their kids, but we don't take somebody who has parents unless they're being abused, but yeah, even sometimes people in a high position in Swaziland want their kids to live in our home because it's very nice. They get 3 meals a day. They're going to get educated. And we're like, no, that's not what this is for. And so we have to have guidelines.
Still going on for those children who you don't have room for and or don't need.
Yes. Yeah. So for now, that sponsorship is going on. And as that finishes, we'll still have sponsorships, but it'll be up at the care home because every child who lives in the care home needs a sponsor too, not just for school, but for the expenses of daily life because we make sure they go to the doctor and they get really well fed and clothes and everything you would do for a child that's your own child. And then if there's extra, if we have more sponsors and enough people, then we'll start also granting sponsorships to kids in that village that are right there where we were building. So that entire village.
You start at your nucleus and branch out as funds are available.
Yes. Yeah. And the thing is, when the school is done, we'll need people to sponsor the kids in the school, which won't just be our children. It will be kids from the village who will be coming. And then it'll be a private school and they won't be able to afford that. So we'll definitely need sponsors. So as these other places phase out, we're hoping every sponsor will just transfer their sponsorship to what's happening there on site.
So based on what we know right now, that element of the ministry will always be in place and be necessary.
Yes, it definitely will.
What kind of money are we talking about?
For schools, and I don't know what it'll be for our private school because we've never done that. It's always been government schools. But up to this point, for an elementary age child, it's been $25 a month. And for a high school child, it's been $50 a month, which that isn't quite enough for the high school kids. The expenses have gone up. And for the private school, it may end up being more than that because we'll also definitely include the feeding. Yeah, they'll get something in the morning and something at lunch. Yeah.
And they can't learn if they're starving.
Exactly. That's another reason that the kids don't do well in school. Your brain cells don't work unless you've had food. So
we've talked about this before at length, and we don't need to rehash everything.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a water hydrant of need. How do you stand there with a teaspoon knowing that that's enough?
Yes, that is the challenge right there. And at first we were so overwhelmed. We felt like it's this sea of faces with just need everywhere. And even everywhere you go, strangers come up to you and just beg you to help them. Not just them, but please take my child or please do you have any food or everywhere we go because you're white. And so they assume you have money, and we do. And so it is overwhelming at times, but it's focusing what has God put in front of me right now today, and just it's hard to say no to other people, but you can't do everything. You do what He has given you to do in the moment, and He has miraculously sent us exactly the kids that He had planned for our home. I mean, it is amazing. What a delight! What a precious family they have become. It's just amazing. Even our workers, he sent us an auntie to help take care of the kids. She is part of the family. She and her daughter. I mean, they are family. He sent us our 2 boys now that are from our Men of Courage from way back in 2006. 2 of those guys are on site. They're the uncles and the brothers to these kids. One of the high school girls had to walk quite a distance from her bus back up to the house, and he'd go down there and walk her back. He didn't want anybody bothering her. I mean, one of the guys. And so it's a family, and just amazing to see how each person. Now we also have a new secretary. And she's another piece of the whole big puzzle to get things done there. And I'm telling you what, we're just blessed. And that was the vision, to have a family.
Yes.
Not an orphanage, not an institution, but a family. And it is. And it all goes back. It goes back to Patrick and Caesar, our house parents. They have the heart and the vision for it. And it's happening. We just see them loving everybody like their own. Yeah.
May the Lord bless them. And He is blessing them.
He is blessing them, not only as individuals, but as a family, because they have a new baby coming any day. She's actually not due until March, I think 19th or something like that. But it looks like she's going to come early. So one doctor thought she was going to need a C-section this time, but we took her to the government, away from the government hospital to a private clinic. And that doctor said he thinks she can deliver naturally. So, but definitely keeping an eye on her. Yeah.
You mentioned it in the group home that it is, there are group home parents that you just mentioned, and then the children. And so they're sisters and brothers. They're not just number 17.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I have a picture, actually this is from last time, and it's not all the kids, but it's some of them. And so I thought people might like to just see.
Yes.
Is that about right?
Pull it back just a little bit. Just a little. And raise it up just a little. There we go. There they are.
Yeah.
There they are. They look very happy.
They are.
There's all ages, it looks like, Becky.
Yes, there are. Our oldest girl that's actually part of one of our kids that came in, not an original Matsabula, is 20. She's nearing 21, but she's just in her 4th year of high school, and there are 5 years because they don't always get to start at the beginning, you know. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they have to drop out for a while because of funds, but she's now in Form 4 and doing great. And then it goes all the way down to the youngest one we took in. I think she was 4 when we got her. She's 5 now. So, yeah, and then everything in between. And the Matsabula's kids are a big wide range too. But really, all of them get treated like Matsabulas.
And what you mean when you say that is children of the house parents.
Yes, correct. Yeah, Patrick and Caesar Matsabula. Yeah.
Okay.
And even, like I say, even our 2 guys from the Men of Courage who are there, they are their sons. They go to Patrick and Caesar for advice, and just, it's awesome. Exactly what we had in mind.
Okay, so let's see. We've been through meeting the Drews. Your first trip, which I'm just totally blown away that your very first trip you stayed for a month, and for good reason.
Yes,
you made yourself available.
Yes,
and let the Lord lead you and guide you, and open doors or not open doors, and you gave Him enough time to do that.
Yes, yeah. Just needed to make sure we were hearing heaven correctly. Yeah. So,
and then early on, you realized that just paying someone, supporting them financially while they lived in their own home wasn't going to be all that you needed.
Right. And just to make sure that's clear, we never sent money directly to the people in the home, but it went to the schools. Yeah. It went through the churches to the schools. And
that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we would purchase the uniforms and all that stuff ourselves when we were there. So yeah. And so, but that wasn't enough. And so then Angel, so we knew we needed a care home.
And Angel she has not really come full circle, and she's not with you mentally, physically, or spiritually, but she was the impetus that the Christ used.
Yes. So she actually went to the Matsabula's home before the home was even done. She lived with them for a few months and then moved in. She was the first person to move into the home, but then she left a little over a year ago, and I actually got to see her during this trip, and she has a baby boy. And it was a very interesting meeting. Just loved having some time with her, and she did too. And of course, her plans for her life have completely changed. But I was able to encourage her, just hold that baby. Her mom wants nothing to do with her and the baby. And I was able to just be a Grammy for a few minutes and let her know, your job now, even though you wanted to go to school to do this, your job now is to make sure that this little boy gets what you didn't get.
Yes.
You be the kind of mama to him that he needs. And she really received that. So, it was good to see her. Yeah. And she has regrets. She said she wished she'd never left, and all that. But I'm going, we can't redo what's already done, but make the best of it now. You know where you're loved. We're still there.
It takes all of us, no matter our culture, our age, our ethnicity, our wealth, or our bank account. It takes all of us. It's a hard lesson to learn. Some things can
That's
be.
right.
Some things cannot be.
Yeah, that's right.
But Christ can redeem anything.
Man, the Lord can I was about to say exactly that. The Lord can redeem anything. Amen, sis. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so tell us miraculous stories of what is happening, what is going to happen, what you discovered and experienced just on this recent trip. And how long was that trip?
It was a 5-week trip this time. So long time to be away from my husband. And he was real hungry by the time I got here. He wasn't able to go. And more on that, and remind me to tell you about Tracy's participation later, because there's a change coming. But yeah, 5 weeks without him. There were amazing things even before we left, because you know about the book I wrote, A Bruised Reed.
Have you got that with you that you can share?
I do. Yeah. I've got it right here.
A Bruised Reed.
I got it in the right spot. There we go. Yeah.
And what is the subtitle?
Memoirs of African Orphans and Their Rescuers. And so you've heard me talk about Penny Takeda, I'm sure, lots of times, because she's gone with me. I think this might have been her 6th trip with me? I'm not sure. Numbers are not my thing. She would know. But she's been with me a lot. And I don't know that we're ever going to let her not go. But she had given my book to her friend Dennis Ogawa. And he'd already been to Swaziland twice before with her. And so he read it. And right before Christmas, made the decision to go. He really felt like God was calling him to go. And he's actually unemployed right now. Got laid off from a very nice job, but wasn't sure exactly what was going to happen, but he knew God said go. And he needed almost $5,000 for this trip because of flights and all that. So it was like 4,000 something. I can't remember now, but he sent out his letters. He was accepted for the trip, sent out his letters, and his first donor made a $5,000 donation. And so, yes, this was our first miracle. And it was so obvious he was called to go. He ended up raising over $3,000 over what he needed. That we're able to just use for whatever is on his heart there. So he got to go and see what's going to move him the most and say, put it there. So, but the interesting thing is I sent him an email to let him know this just came in. And I told him who it was from and asked if he knew him. It was his baby brother. And this brother doesn't even have that much money. And so he said, let me check with him and make sure that wasn't a mistake. So he said to me, did you accidentally add 1 or 2 zeros to that? His brother said, no, my wife and I prayed and we both got the same amount. So he already had the entire trip more than covered from the first donor. And then, like I say, all this other. So it was so obvious Dennis was supposed to be with us. Penny came for the whole 5 weeks and Dennis came for the last 2 weeks. Okay. So, but just amazing to have him. He is a real intercessor, and he prayed for so many people. He even prayed for my knee that has given me trouble for over a year, and God touched it. I got to take off my wraps. And so, yeah, and all the walking we do while we're there, it was amazing. Yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say it's 100%, but it is way like 90%, 90%, but it was just one little spot that's still healing. But yeah, praise God. And just the impact he had. He got to share with the Men of Courage one night and did a visual demonstration of the 4 friends who took the lame man to Jesus. He had 4 guys pick up one of our guys and carry him, and then shared about that and asked, who are your 4 friends? Who's carrying you to Jesus? It was so powerful. I'm telling you what. And so just seeing him interact with them, and we would go to homesteads, and just in his humble, gentle way, he would just ask if he could pray for people, and God moved. It was really amazing to have him with us, and just a real encourager, a very gentle man, and a great role model for the guys. And then Penny, of course, always a blessing. She loves the children. Like, I mean, there aren't even words. And she does have financial resources. So we stop at this store on the way from Johannesburg, South Africa, to Swaziland. And now we have to stop every time so she can go to this toy store. And she loves it. I mean, you can't even get anything else in our car with our luggage and all her stuff. But we pack as much as we can in there and let her just bless the kids. She gets games and toys and got stuff for the preschool and just blesses them. But it isn't just the finances. It's the love she shows these kids. She's Mama Penny. And as soon as she gets there, these kids are crawling all over her and just can't wait, not just for the toys, but she plays with them. She gets in there with them. She asks about details in their lives, remembers. She knows how old, she can tell you their birthdays, how old they are. I can't even remember my grandkids, Like I say, I'm not the numbers person. I know their names. I know approximately how old, but I mean, she knows these kids, and they can't wait for her to get there every time. So just watching even that grandma position in their lives, and we only go twice a year, but they light up like a Christmas tree and just let us come in and love on them. And it's amazing. So watching that and watching the growth when she got there this time compared to when she went with me in August. Mm-hmm. And just seeing how much the kids have changed and that they remember us and they're able to receive love mm-hmm. after the things they've been through. That's nothing short of a miracle.
Yes.
That they are able to receive real love. They can do it. And that is something that Jesus did. By his Holy Spirit, he is healing their hearts, healing their lives, and letting them let love in. And it's just beautiful. The faces of the kids, the joy, the way they get along, the way the Matsabula older kids help the little ones. Wow. And I asked, let's see, I believe the Sabatle is 10 years old, I think. And I sat beside her during a dinner. And I asked her, so honey, what's it really like having all these extra kids in your family now? She goes, it's great. I'm just like, But even at that, Penny had this great big dinner for everybody. She took us all to the theater because only one of them had ever been to a movie theater before. And we watched this cute little reindeer movie, animated thing about this guy, Elliot. And anyway, and then she took everybody out to eat. So 23 of us at these two long tables. And just watching how they interact with each other, and one will help the other one. We have one girl who's there temporarily with us. We're overcrowded already, but social welfare brought her anyway because they needed this place, and she's been there I think since the fall, temporary, but she's still there. We'll see. We'll see how temporary it ends up being. But she doesn't read English, and she'd never been in a restaurant, and so didn't know even how to begin to order. And so just watching Skanyiso, one of our newest girls, show her how to use the menu and what to order and helping her make a decision. Just all those kinds of things. These kids are just growing and blossoming. And there are miracles God does that are like physical healing, which I experienced on the trip, and the financial provision. But watching what he's doing in individual hearts and lives is the real miracle. Yes. And I'm telling you, sign me up again. Yep, I'd do it all again. And speaking of Skanyiso, I thought, just talking about that very thing, I've got two pictures here, and let me see if I can get them there where you can see them. Yes. Uh-huh. One is her, this one is from before, and then this one is 3 days after we rescued her. I'm telling you what.
Her countenance is completely changed.
Yes. And now she is just confident, happy, part of the family. I mean, you would never know. You would never even know the things she's been through. The work of God. No, I'm not saying that there won't ever be things these kids have to deal with later. Mm-hmm. We realize that all through their lives they're going to be dealing with some of it. But the freedom we already see is amazing. And it's because of love. It's love.
I worked informally with abuse victims and abuse survivors for 25 years.
Wow. Wow.
And one of the things that I saw over and over and over and over was similar to what you're describing. Now they can let love in.
Yes.
It might be the rest of their life. It might be a pocket of time in their life where things are healthy.
Yes.
People are advocating for them without wanting anything from them.
Yes.
Here's what I love so much about it is even if life or the enemy or their own poor choices, whoever they are, wherever they live in the world, take them elsewhere. the enemy can never steal that experience that I've lived for 20 minutes, 20 days, 20 months, 20 years in a healthy environment. They can experience that. He can never tell them they're not worthy of it, because they always have that memory that, oh, it happened to me already, baby.
Amen. Amen. And I love the way you worded that, worthy of it, because this book is the first one in the Worth Fighting For series, because they are worth it. Jesus considers them worth his very life, and all of us too. We're worth it to him. Yes. We're worthy, not in the sense of being deserving of all of his greatness and goodness, but worth it because we're valuable. That kind of worth. Yes. Worthy.
He makes us valuable. He sees us as valuable.
Yes. We mean so much to him that he would want us that much. And he does.
And here's the kicker, after what we've done or after what's been done to us.
Yes. Amen. Amen. And I'm sure your listeners too needed to hear that, because we forget sometimes how much he loves us and has so much waiting for us even now to finish that healing, to continue that healing, to bring us past those past hurts and the things that happened. And you know what? Then the day is going to come when every tear will be finally all completely wiped away. We'll be like him when we see him, and whoo, then the glory.
I'm looking forward to that time.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes it's because I'm holy. Sometimes it's because I'm exhausted.
Oh boy, I can really identify with that. Yes, when our work is done, we've run our race.
So how can we support, and if we do, how can we support your ministry? And is it Grand Staff Ministries that we would be supporting, and then it would filter to the correct categories?
Yes, actually it's Grand Staff Ministries, but people can let us know how they want their funds used. If it's sponsorship of a particular child, that's great. It takes about, I never did finish that. At the home, it takes about $3,000 per year for a primary age child, and it takes close to $4,000 for the older kids, the high school kids. Okay. Some of them already have school sponsors, but we still have to come up with the rest of it. So like if a school sponsor, that's minus $600 for a high school kids. So you're looking at about $3,200 still needed for a high school child to live in the home.
Wow.
And so, and we don't have enough sponsors for all the kids for that yet. So we're actually, and of course, then there's the building projects and all the other things that are going on, paying our workers and all that stuff. So there's definitely a need no matter what. And some people just say, here's this money, use it where it's needed. Other people really want to be involved with a particular child. And that's great too. We have some people who are already donating to the feeding kitchen, which hasn't opened officially yet. We're feeding the preschool kids, but there's some little issues in the community, which are being ironed out as we speak. There just sometimes is, what's the word I want? Not everyone has the kids' best interests at heart. We'll put it like that. But it's coming. It's coming because it's God's will, and so that's still going to happen. But meanwhile, we're feeding the kids in the preschool. So right now we're up to 31 of those, and of course the kids at the home. So, but people can designate. This is what really moves me. This is where I want it to go, and there's plenty of need in any area. Right now, we've broken ground on our office that is desperately needed, and we're going to go up 2 floors, another story, so it's a 2-story building, because the second floor will be living quarters, and that brings up Tracy, my husband, is really feeling like it's time for him to retire, even though he's only 62, not 65. So he can't get Medicare yet. So the big thing we're working out is health insurance. But if he can do that, the plan is then he and I will go. I'll still go twice a year, but he'll go with me, and we'll stay for a couple months, which will just allow us to get so much more done and establish a lot more relationships with people in our village and other places too. But we'll just be able to do a lot more and oversee more what's happening. It'll be a lot more effective. And I can't stay 2 months without him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. 5 weeks is my limit.
That's a big window, isn't it?
So, yeah. But then, and it's not glamorous to give to an office. Give me a child instead. And I understand that so much. But people can be assured that whatever they give, all of it is going to go to the eventual needs of the kids. And the office is a necessity. We have a secretary now, but she's sitting in the living room doing her work. And so we've got to have a place for files, a place where when people come to the home, they don't go to the house. That they can go to an office instead of interrupting what's happening, or even sometimes they go to the preschool and interrupt class. We just have to put a stop to that. So there are a lot of reasons that we need the office, but that's one of them. But then also, so when we go, we'll be able to stay upstairs right there in the village, which is that'll be way different from what we do now. So we're really, really looking forward to that. We can just walk around, get to know the people there and develop relationships, because it's not just caring for the kids, it's discipleship, it's reaching, preaching, making disciples wherever you go, and really building those relationships so you have a right to speak into somebody's life.
Yes. And this may not be true, you tell me. The people that are in the village determine in some part how successful the ministry is.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And, it's easy for there to be some jealousy. And we found that they're jealous of our house parents. They're jealous of what they're jealous even of the kids. Yeah. Like I say, some of them want their kids to come live there, even though there's not a need for it, And so there's jealousy, which always causes trouble. The Bible says, where envy and strife are, there's every evil work. Mm-hmm. And there's opposition that we have to face lovingly to the people, but tough with the enemy. But yeah, just developing those relationships will make a huge difference. Definitely in the big picture.
And what kind of time frame do you know yet on his retirement?
He's looking at by July, if possible. We're still working out details. Okay. Like I say, health insurance is the big thing. If anybody out there knows something, call me. but as far as people donating, they would just make it to Grand Staff Ministries and then just let us know. Here's where my heart is. Mm-hmm. But we're looking for one. Oh, go ahead.
If they don't, then you'll just give it to the
Yes, yeah, we'll just use it for whatever's, yeah, definitely. And so we're looking for 150 people who will do $50 per month. Of course, any amount's okay. When I got home, I found out a couple wants to do 50 a month, and I found out another couple's doing 500 a month. So that took the spot of 10 people. So thank you, Jesus. And you know what? We like the widow's mite as much as we do any of it. God sees. He sees. And we know he's got this. This is his ministry. We're just so blessed and honored that we get to be part of it.
150 people, $50 a month.
Yes.
And that's going to be an ongoing need, not to grow, but just to remain, just to maintain in place.
Yes, it meets all the annual expenses. Some of that's for building, because we'll always have another building project going until we have 12 care homes built, and all of the preschool. All of the primary school and maybe a high school. But yeah, there's always just going to be. But then ongoing needs of each of the homes. So. Yeah, we have our boutique in downtown Buhler, a thrift boutique, and that helps. But honestly, we're having some real challenges right now with the landlord situation and wanting to raise rent and different things, So we need prayer for that too, that will be able to stay secure, that we won't have to move, but we will if we have to. God always knows.
Debbie mentions, Debbie mentions that if anyone is near Buhler, Kansas, the Grand Staff Thrift Boutique is fabulous.
Oh, thank you, Debbie. She actually came all the way from Colorado and did a book signing for us one Christmas, and helped volunteer. It was amazing. Then she came back another year and helped.
Yes,
even with a fundraiser that we did. So that was amazing.
There, the two of y'all.
Yes. Yep. We're overdue, Debbie. Yeah, and we need volunteers at the store. So what's that?
I was just going to tell you that Judy Gordon-Morrow has joined us, and she says she suggests the Christian Healthcare Ministries for your health.
Okay, I'll go back and look at that after we're done. Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Judy.
If I'm not mistaken, and I don't know exactly, but this might be one of those ministries that everybody pulls all their money and covers everybody's expenses for that month.
Yes.
You're not just paying a $5,000 a month, you're paying a portion of the $5,000 and
Yes,
people in
yes, yes.
the less it costs. Now, but that may not be accurate. Judy knows more about it than I do.
Okay, I will definitely check it out.
And you were just telling us a little bit more about the where do people go online to support the Grand Staff Ministries?
Yes, they can go to www.grandstaffministries.com, and there's a donate page.
Let me pull that up right now. Let me just
yeah.
I like to show.
And ministries is plural.
Grand Staff Ministries.com. Okay, let's get that. I like to show. It's just so much easier to remember things when you know what you're looking for. All right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. That's it. And there is a donate. You would just go to hit the Grand Staff Ministries button, and it would take you to the donate page. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that really quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
There's the explanation. Some statistics.
Oh, and it needs updated so badly. If anybody loves doing websites, we need one redone desperately. Yeah. And so up in the top right corner, I think, there's the donate page. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yep. And so, yeah, and it just takes you to PayPal. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's all secure.
Let me do this again. So we're at the home page, and the donate button is not on the home page, Becky.
Do I need to put the donate button on the home page?
Yes, baby. Yes.
Somebody needs to help me here. Like I say, just put me in the field. I don't like all this office stuff.
We would go to Grand Staff Ministries, and then we would see the donate button, and then we are taken right to.
Yes, and if somebody wants to make it monthly, they can just mention that in the comment, and then they would start getting a monthly newsletter.
Okay, I see. So they would check this box right here. And it would be an automatic deduction from either their.
Oh yeah, they could set it up automatic there. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you, dear.
I'm glad we looked at it. I'm glad we looked at that. Let me see if we have.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Do we have any other comments or questions? Paula Wine says, donate and volunteer at the boutique.
Yes, ma'am. She's done both.
Debbie also says that, thank you, Paula, for listing that URL there, that the website. And Debbie also says the bed and breakfast is awesome. So the other things that we saw there on the website, the bed and breakfast, the boutique, the Shepherd's Care Home, are they all under the umbrella and for the purpose of the ministry?
Yes, everything. Now the bed and breakfast, actually, even though it's Grand Staff Bed and Breakfast, Tracy and I own that personally. And when we started it, it's with the idea that when we are taking more trips, we'll still have some ongoing income, even after he quits. But yeah, God has used it so much to connect us with people who are now sponsors and just amazing friends of the ministry, personal friends. And so, but just to clarify, that isn't actually, like the funds from that are personal. Yeah.
We have to have personal funds.
We do have to still fund, somebody's got to pay the bills.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
I know there's more to tell. Maybe you can come back after your next trip and tell us again. And
ma'am.
You're so busy. I was thrilled with the crazy idea to contact you and see if there's any way you could work us in. And actually, it was okay. It worked out seamlessly.
Yes, you got me before I went back to work at the boutique, so that was awesome. and honestly, I'm really trying to get where I can back off of the boutique completely, so that I can do the other things that need done. Because book 2 in the Worth Fighting For series is in the works, and so that'll be coming out. I hope in the fall. We'll see. And it's a book on faith. Worth fighting for. Our faith is worth fighting for. Faith is not a garden hose is the name of it.
Oh yes.
So yeah. So that's coming, and always plenty to do. But as soon as I get home, it's time to gear up for the next trip. And if people are interested in going, it's going to be mid-July, and you would need to get your name into me pretty soon because we have to start booking all that stuff right away. I mean, it wouldn't lock you in for, as you're definitely committed and have to do it. But if you're interested, I need to know that so I can make sure I have enough rooms on that side.
These things have to be these things have to be addressed early on, don't they?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and then give some time to raise their funds. So, not everybody gets it with the first donor like Dennis did.
There's always hope now, though, that it could happen.
Yes, that's right. It can happen again.
Okay. All right. Viewers, we so appreciate you being here. And Becky,
Yes.
we love you.
Thank you, Patricia. I love you to pieces. You have such a platform for people, and I appreciate it. You're doing kingdom work, girl. Thank you.
Thank you. I pray so. That's what I'm trying to do.
Amen.
One more time, let me check and see if we have any comments or questions. Timmy Whitehurst is here. She says, I love a praise report. She, speaking of you, she is sparkling with joy. She always sparkles with joy, Tammy. I knew her years ago, met her years ago at the Colorado Christian Writers Conference, and she was bursting with joy then. And this was before the ministry even began. Excuse me. And here's the thing. He's grown you, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You were so dynamic, so energetic, so faithful, so sure of him, so willing to serve him. And you were, this was already happening in your home, literally your home. Raising 4 of your own children, 4 who were adopted, and life was not always smooth sailing. It never is when you have a group of 10 people all together. You were already obeying him. He invited you and Tracy, put a nugget in your heart. You followed him. You went and stayed a month in a foreign country, a third world foreign country, let's say. And he showed you, and you went to the next step, and he showed you something else. You went to the next step. You're still doing that right now.
Amen. Amen.
Praise God.
Thank you. Thank you, sis.
It's an honor to know you. It's an honor to know
you too, girl. Thank you.
Viewers, we're so thankful that you were here today, and there will be people who are watching the replay. We appreciate you being here as well. And whether you're watching live or the replay, you can go to grandstaffministries.com, that's plural, and find the donate button. If you can't find it, contact Becky, because she's available.
Yeah.
She's available. Take your money. I'm looking for 150 people to donate $50 a month to the ministry. And if you don't specify which part of the ministry, it will go to the general fund. And they do know that everything goes to the babies. Yeah. Everything goes to the babies in Swaziland. Thank you, Father. This has been episode number 244, Praise Report from Swaziland, with author and missionary Becky Yates Spencer. And I didn't ask you this earlier. We've never identified you as a missionary. I don't know if you consider yourself one, but I want to tell you officially you are a missionary, sister.
Oh, thank you, girl. I appreciate that.
You don't live there on property yet, but you are a missionary. Okay, let's just accept it.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Starting tomorrow, viewers, I'm going to be taking Fridays off to prepare for a move. The Lord has moved my family, whichever family I live with, birth family or husband family. He moves us consistently. We have not chosen another home, but we know he is moving us. This will be my 39th place to live. I'm used to moving, but we only have crazy. This is crazy. We only have, my husband and I only have ourselves to pack up the entire house and stage it and clean it and gut it and fill in the blank and do the landscaping and so forth. And we only have, because of our schedules, we only have 1 day a week to do it. So you can imagine how slow the process is. So I'm going to start taking Fridays off and see if I can get a little bit of momentum going. But we still got something good for you. I'm going to present tomorrow a replay of an interview that I had with author Michelle Lazark. She is an author, a pastor's wife, and she's written a book about a fellowship. And at the end of her interview, she gives us a completely detailed step-by-step breakdown of how to turn your one sheet, which would be not a speaker's one sheet, but a book about your book. Turn that book one sheet that you might take with you to a conference where all of your content, all of your concept is on one particular piece of paper. to take that and turn it into a book proposal. It's an excellent training. You will really, really learn a lot and enjoy it as well. We're here every weekday, 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern. This program is designed to serve you so that you can then go serve others in Jesus' name online specifically. You can take all this information and you can serve them in real life too, but online is where our audience is, the bulk of our audience. They will continue to be online for the rest of our life. The world has changed. This is the way it's going to be. Some of the people that you serve, their lives will change. Some of the people that you serve, their eternities will change. This is why we're here. Thank you for being here. Thank you again, Ms. Spencer.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Patricia.
Thanks so much, everybody. We will see you tomorrow.